So before I get any hate on the title of this video, let me just start off by saying, yes, I found the movie enjoyable. I did like it. I just don't think it should be on the pedestal that it is on right now with 95 on Rotten Tomatoes and just a lot of reviewers I'm seeing, saying this is the best, live action adaptation of a movie ever. It's Baja Irish Rico. Let me start off with probably the biggest talking point of this film, the CGI. As you probably already know, about 90% of this movie is CG. From the environments to the animals, everything is made on a computer. Aside from Mowgli, that's the only maybe live action part we have. And one criticism I could see just from the get-go is that, hey, is this really a live action film when most of it's just made on a computer and you have maybe one real person in the movie? And yeah, I could see that being a problem. But what I do see in this film is a technical achievement and a technical masterpiece in terms of what they're able to create. So this movie has a $175 million budget. And, that's not unreasonable at all in terms of a blockbuster nowadays. And it shows that we can have a movie that has all the CG that's has its environments and its, most of its characters all created through a computer and still look great. But this movie transcends like what is reality in terms of like what you see. Many scenes you're going to be asking yourself like, hey, are these environments, like, is this foliage or this rocks, like all this sand that just moves? It looks so organic and genuine that you're wondering like, is this really, not real? Are they not filming an actual jungle? And the answer is yes. It's all created on a computer, and it's gorgeous. You never feel like Mowgli is not in that scene. Every time he's there, you genuinely feel like he's there. That's partially due to Mowgli's performance, but also in addition, just like how well they make sure that all the details and intricacies that a scene of him moving through these environments will look. Aside from being a technical masterpiece, I have to say the performances in this film are actually really, really great. Neil Sethi who plays Mowgli, a child star who, of course, is relatively new to the scene. And I have to say he does amazing. For a kid who's essentially acting in a green box of a room and acting with inanimate objects, he does an amazing job, really making you feel like he's in that scene. He's with those characters, and everything blends pretty seamlessly. Yeah, maybe once in a while you do feel like, yeah, maybe he is acting, but as a child star, like, he does a phenomenal performance, just as good as any adult would do. And I could really see this kid really going sort of far in the future and hopefully starring in some other movies. In terms of just the voice performances, yeah, this had a star-studded cast when Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, Ben Kingsley is in it. So I have to say Bill Murray is the breakout star in here, as Baloo, the Big Bear, and he just captured all the charisma, the sarcasm, the charm, the wit, and just the general compassion that Baloo had in all the other adaptations of this story. And he just fits his character so well, and he's able to create such a bond with Mowgli, and it feels real, but just because of all the heart and feel that Bill Murray's able to put in. Ben Kingsley also does an amazing performance as Bagheera the Black Panther and does a great job at being that kind of father figure to Mowgli throughout the film. Scarlett Johansson's in this movie for literally like 4 seconds, so I'm not even sure why they bothered marketing her for this. Christopher Walken, as soon as he comes on, you hear that iconic voice, you know it's him, and he does another great performance as he always does in movies. And the big baddie, Shere Khan, who his voice actor did an amazing job at making his character scary and that big, powerful villain. But just overall, the whole voice cast from supporting characters to main characters all did a phenomenal job. In terms of story, you know what you're getting into. Whether you've read the book, you've seen the cartoon, or whatever way you learned the Jungle Book, they do a faithful adaptation to the source material, which is really good for any future generations where this is pretty much their first introduction to the story of the Jungle Book. They have all the iconic moments from the snake to the monkey town to the fights to the ending, and everything that is there that has to be. Just occasionally it does feel like they are going from set piece to set piece, and it's a little jarring where it's like, hey, we have this iconic moment, this iconic moment, this iconic moment, and the movie's over. So that's the only little kind of gripe I have maybe in terms of the consistency and pace of the movie. Now here comes my few complaints. One of the bigger ones, I have to say, was I felt like the songs didn't really come out as genuine as they were in, especially the cartoon, because that's where I remember the movie from the best. So when they did sing the bare necessities, which was coming out, Bill Murray and Mowgli were singing it together, and it just didn't feel as good as it was in the original one. It actually felt like a Disney movie where, hey, you hear the beat coming on and you hear the singers, and of course, they recorded it separately from just like normal dialogue. But here it just kind of felt like two people kind of like casually singing, neither of them really good at singing, which, I guess does fit somewhat of the tone of the film, but at the same point, it's a little disappointing to hear one of my favorite Disney songs not really getting the justice I think it should. Um, in addition, there's only like two main like singing songs from the actors, and the second one, like to put it bluntly, I didn't even know it was a song until it was like halfway over. It just kind of like is a little bit of talking, and then it kind of like hear a beat, and you're like, is this gonna break out into a song? And you're like, oh, he's rhyming, and then you're like, okay, I guess it's actually a song. So that was just a little complaint. The actual like soundtrack, nothing really to note. The final theme in the end, it was the only memorable song in my opinion, and it was just kind of the generic like upbeat, kind of like scary, like tense music, kind of like Hans Zimmery. And I think that was a solid track, but overall, I think the music was slightly disappointing to be completely honest. Another little complaint I have is I just didn't find this movie as funny as I found like the original cartoon adaptation of it. Yes, of course, there still is jokes and Blue still is funny as ever in a lot of the scenes. It's just that overall, like it just didn't have me chuckling at a lot as much as I did at the silliness, maybe the cartoon and the charm that had, which is slightly disappointing in terms of a Disney movie where that Disney charisma and charm, where you always have a big smile on your face, just maybe wasn't there completely for me, which is slightly disappointing. The movie is also obviously catering to a younger audience in terms of some of the jokes and dialogue that is written. So if you go into this movie seeing that it has a darker tone, don't get fooled into thinking that there's not some silly moments or some moments that might not entertain some of the older audiences. But it still is a really good family movie, and I think everybody of any age could honestly enjoy it. There's parts for everyone, except there is a few scenes, like I mentioned before, that might be a little frightening to younger kids. Overall, I do think this is a good movie that has a great message of just be yourself and don't let anybody change you, which is emphasized really well in this movie. It's just, aside from the few hiccups I said, maybe with the music and sometimes the plot dragging, I think my biggest gripe with the movie is just aside from the initial wow factor I got from the graphics or just from the CG, I didn't really feel that again in the movie. It was kind of what I expected. It was enjoyable, it was fun, but I was never amazed to say again after that, which is kind of a disappointment when I've seen all these huge reviews. But at the same point, I didn't think I'd enjoy this movie a year ago, so I have to give it props to that. And overall, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. Not a must watch, but still a good movie. And if you do end up go watching it, you'll have a fun time, and it's a great family movie. But if you ended up watching this, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know why you think this movie is at, should be at that 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, or why do you think it should be lower? It should be more with the Metacritic and IMDb scores, that kind of where I'm at. And thanks for watching. If you want to see more movie reviews, I try to, review movies, the weekends that come out, all big releases, and I do countdowns and other things on this channel. If any of that sounds interesting to you, consider giving me a subscribe, and I really appreciate it. And see you next time.